Bakker the naturopath from New Zealand. How you all going out there? I hope everyone's hanging in there with this COVID stuff, and I really sincerely hope that it goes away so we can all sort of get back to a normal life. Right, here's a question. Does CanXida Restore balance the acidity of the stomach? Is it a good supplement to use for gastritis? Well, when a patient comes to me with gastritis, something on my tongue there. When a patient comes to me with gastritis, or when they did when I was practicing, the first thing I would try and find out, especially if it was a male, because often I found a lot of men with gastritis, was what the heck are they eating? And a lot of people will say, no, I'm okay, I'm just eating a normal meal, 3 square meals a day, and I might have a few beers or something like that. But when you drill it right down, and especially if you talk to relations of people that sometimes aren't forthcoming with what they are eating, you'll find often that there's one food or one drink underpinning the gastritis. I've seen too many people over too long a period to have this stuff that grows on the back of sheep called wool pull over my eyes. I can tell you now. I've heard it all. I'm eating well. I'm eating a healthy diet. What are you talking about? Nothing wrong with my diet. Bag of salted chips after dinner. Or about the guy who was eating a pound of nuts a day and kept talking about bloating and gas and couldn't work out why the hell what was going on. This is not uncommon, okay? If a man comes to me or a woman and they can say, I've got gastritis, usually I have 2 questions up front. A, what are they eating? And if it's a guy, I'll look usually what they're wearing, their presentation. If it's a suit, I'll assume it's alcohol. So I'll say, you drink any alcohol? No, I don't drink much. Only a couple of drinks a week. It might be that kind of a drink, we don't know what we're talking about here. So the point I'm making here with all this blah, blah is what is the person eating? What is the person drinking? Okay? What is the habits of that person? Because we need to find out where the gastritis is coming from, why it's being caused, how it's being caused. Everything else is a moot point if you can't work out why. Now, people often, sometimes will come up with these baloney excuses with, I was born like that, or it just developed out of nowhere, or sure, going from 150 pounds to 300 pounds it comes out of nowhere too. There's always a reason why people get bigger. There's always a reason why people develop gastritis. There's always a reason why people develop a yeast infection. And in my case, it was because I took antibiotics. Far too many, far too long by a doctor way back. And I got so sick. And that was the cause, right? So part of my cause also was the diet. Because, again, when I was in my 20s, I wasn't eating properly. I was enjoying soda drinks and I was eating crappy food, which I've long stopped doing. So now my digestive system stomach is in fantastic condition. So your digestive system can be in a fantastic condition too, but you need to go into a mirror and be honest with yourself and look and say, what am I doing? And then most people know what they're doing, okay? So you've got to admit it to yourself. There is a cause. And if you can find that cause, you can usually find the key that unlocks the gastritis door, okay? But coming back to CanXida Restore, you need to be careful with digestive enzymes with gastritis, because Restore contains about 7 enzymes. I think it's 7 enzymes and 6 probiotics in that product. So you should have no problem if your stomach is working reasonably well. But if you're a sort of person who relies on lots of antacids, proton pump inhibitor drugs like Gaviscon or Mylanta or Nexium, if you're taking those 2 or 3 times a day, it's probably not a good idea to take CanXida Restore. So I prefer people get off these pharmaceutical drugs entirely for their stomach, because I really see no benefit from them in all long term. My father-in-law is a classic example who would have several cups of coffee a day with 4 or 5 teaspoons of white sugar in it, and then he'd eat tremendous amounts of meat with fat. He loved fat, or what we call in New Zealand boil-ups, like boiling up ham or fat and then putting green stuff in with it, plants or whatever. And these are called boil-ups, and there's a lot of fat on top. So of course he could develop gastritis. And by the time he was in his 30s, he'd already had 1 or 2 operations on his gut as a consequence. Now, that's what I'm saying. There's a cause. Find the cause, address the cause, the gastritis will improve. And as you're improving, or the upper GI is getting better, it's a good time to put the Restore in at that point. If you've got flaming, or like a flaming stomach, what I call a flaming stomach, like really upset, upper GI, it's probably not a good idea to take the CanXida products, because you could, you know, it's literally like putting a bit of oil on the fire. Just be careful, all right? Some people have gastritis due to low acidity of the stomach, not higher acidity. But again, questioning will, you know, we'll find out what's wrong going on there. I look at the fingernails, I look at their hair, I look at different things of the person that will tell me if they've got a high output or a low output. All right. But yeah, for active gastritis, I don't think I'd take the CanXida products until I found the cause and dealt with it. Thanks for tuning in.